Okay, I know that today is.
Micah Bigham to the main high school office for dismissal. Micah Bigham to the main high school office for dismissal.
I know that today is Thursday, January the 27th. But instead of going into that folder, what I want you to do is I want you to go into your English class. And then I want you to go to the third 9 weeks, week 3. I want you to click on Tuesday, January the 18th. And then I want you to click on the Flowers for Algernon assignment. Okay, you are going to click on your document. All right, you're going to click on your document. Okay, now what my goal is right now is this is how today's class period is going to go. Okay, we're going to review these questions up to a certain point. Once we get to that certain point, we're going to stop and we're going to read part 2. Part 2 will not take long to read. Once we finish part 2, we're going to go to Khan Academy. We're a little behind from what I had originally planned in Schoology, so it's a matter now of catching up and making sure that we're all on track. Okay, Josiah. All right, if you need access, send me or request it, and I will give it. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and make sure you have this document up. Now, I have gone over this right here several times. Make sure you have your first and your last name on this paper. Please make sure that you have capitalized the first letter and of your first name and your last name, the date, your class period, 4th. Okay? We went over this writing about the big question last week. You are supposed to respond to this question in 2 sentences, making sure that you have used formal language, meaning that you have capitalized words that need to be capitalized, you have punctuated your sentences, and you have written independent clauses and not fragments or run-on sentences. Okay? The vocabulary, define the following terms. I'm not going to hash this out right here today because we have already covered all of this. Okay? Analogies. I'm going to go over this one more time just to make sure that everyone has exactly what they need. All right, analogies show the relationships between words. Use a word from above to create a word pair that matches the relationship between the first 2 words. Now, these words can be found on page 344 of your literature book. Okay? Page 344 of your literature book. You have to use a word from the word list or from your vocabulary words to complete this activity. Analogies. You have to figure out the relationship between the first 2 words in order to figure out the relationship between the second set of words. Okay? Heavy is to weighty. We've already said that these 2 words are what? Synonyms. Okay? Heavy and weighty mean the same thing. All right? Heavy is to weighty as lie is to deceive, because lie and deceive mean the same thing, so they are synonyms. Emotional is to rational as physical is to intellectual. Happiness is to contentment as inexperience is to naviate. Okay? All right, expand is to shrink as improvement is to deteriorate. Those are opposites or antonyms. Anxious is to worried as thoughtful is to introspective. Accept is to reject as support is to. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the second time going over these, if not the third. Okay? So if at any point you don't, or if you, at this point you do not have these, then you are going to have to get it on your own or go back and watch this video. If you're absent, it's your responsibility to get it made up. Okay? I don't know either. All right, about the author. Who is the author? Daniel Keyes. I'm looking to make sure that you have capitalized the first name, capitalized the last name. Where was the author raised? Brooklyn, New York. I'm looking to make sure that you have spelled this correctly and you have put a comma in between the city and the state. All right. What were or are his occupations? Editor, teacher, merchant seaman, photographer. What fascinates him? Psychological issues. Okay. What award did he win and what was it for? What year did he win it? He won 2 awards. All right, he won the Hugo Award in 1959, and then he also won the Nebula Award in 1966. All right, the next part, briefly summarize background for the story. Now, if you look on page 345, in the dark purple spot, you will see background for the story. You are supposed to summarize that brief paragraph in one to two sentences in your own words. Okay? I want to see what you can do with that, not what you can do with my help. Page 345. I will type that in here. Page 345. Okay? As you read, answer the following questions. Now, we have already read all of part 1. Making inferences. What details in the opening paragraph help you make inferences about Charlie's situation? Explain. Now, this is at the very, very beginning of the story. When you looked at the words on the page and you heard that audio recording and how Charlie spoke, what could you infer?
He ain't as smart as other people.
All right. You can infer that he is not as smart as other people due to the way he sounded as well as his written language, okay? His spelling errors, all right? So if you will look on the board, all right, I have what you should have or similar to. Now, if you don't have exactly what I have, that's fine, but if it is close, then that is fine as well. If you are completely wrong or not on track, you need to edit yours to make it correct, okay? It's what?
It's all in. I don't have to do anything.
You need to change if you, or,
Like, everything you got up there is already.
Why you telling me?
okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Page 348, point of view. What elements here tell you the story is told from the first person point of view?
Me and I.
They use I and me, okay? Charlie tells us what he is thinking. He is the narrator, and he uses the words I and me. All right?
I don't have 248.
All right, you might have deleted it on accident. So just go back and type it in. Charity, help Keegan because did you go into last Tuesday's folder? I've granted it. All right. Page 349, making inferences. What does Charlie's failure to understand the test reveal about his personality and abilities?
He wants to learn, but he doesn't have the
All right. So listen. All right, he can only understand things literally. All right, he cannot imagine. So just like with those ink blot tests, all right, he saw the ink, but he couldn't make out the images because he is so literal. All right, reading check. What type of test do the doctors give Charlie?
They give him an ink blot.
The Rorschach test, which is the ink blot test. Okay? Page 350, point of view. What does the first person point of view show about Charlie's experience with doctors?
He ain't had what's it called with the chest, the best experience with.
He hasn't had the best experience with them, okay? He does not understand what the doctors want him to do or the purpose of the test. Page 351, critical viewing. All right, based on the photograph from the movie, in what ways are Charlie and Algernon similar and different? Compare and contrast. Now, this picture on page 351 is a picture of Charlie looking down into Algernon's cage, okay? It really doesn't have, this question doesn't really have anything to do with the fact of like what they're actually doing as much as how are they just alike and how are they different. But the picture itself is not going to tell you how they're alike and how they are different. You just kind of have to infer and base it off of your own opinions based off of what you know. Okay? Jeffrey. All right, good. All right, they're both part of the experiment, and they both don't know what's going on. Is that what you said? Absolutely. Okay, they are different because Charlie volunteered for the experimental operation, but Algernon could not willingly volunteer because he is a mouse. He's a rat.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the dude.
No, Algernon is the rat.
What are we on? Because it's the first letter in the sentence.
What kind of pronoun is the word neither?
Pronoun.
Singular.
We talked about it yesterday.
Plural.
All right.
No, it's plural.
But what type of pronoun?
Possession.
It starts with an I.
Indefinite.
Indefinite.
That's what I said.
Okay. Of them, understand is what?
Prepositional phrase.
A prepositional phrase.
We will now have a fire drill. It will be an excursion for your room outside actual drill procedures.